This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman.
This is Lauren Lester, the voice of Robin and Nightwing.
And you're listening to the DCAU Review.
Hosted by Cal and Liam.
Streaming at DCAUreview.com.
And on your favorite podcast app.
2 times the might, 2 ways to fight. It's Batman's new Duo Force with incredible 2-in-1 vehicle technology. Mr. Freeze fires an icy sky attack. Now with Duo Force, Turbo Surge Batman changes his turbo flight machine into a hammering hover sled. And with Duo Force, Airstrike Robin's paraglider converts into a thundering air runner. Now turn up the power even more as the dynamic duo interlock to rock crime. Mr. Freeze, thawed out with ease. Batman's Duo Force.
2 times the might, 2 ways to fight.
Figures come with vehicles each sold.
Welcome, everybody, to another bonus episode of the DCAU Review. That's right, it is our annual Black Friday special episode here at the DCAU Review, as we've done almost every single year. I think this is our 4th edition coming up here, Liam, of an exciting holiday themed. You know, it's the holiday season. We're kicking it off here. What's more holiday themed than toys and action figures and video games and the things of your childhood? So each and every Black Friday, we release this bonus episode for you to listen in, maybe while you're shopping, or maybe later on when you're wrapping presents or hanging up the tree, whatever you're doing, hanging the wreath, staging the menorah, whatever you're doing. We're here to be your soundtrack for that opportunity. And Liam, this year is no different. We have another listicle, if you will, of some of our favorite things. And we've done one of these each and every year. And this year we have a fun one, a unique one, and I think one that's going to be quite memorable for some hilarity.
Absolutely. So we've in the past we talked about our favorite figures, and as you said, video games and some of the more modern DC Direct and DC collectibles action figures. But we're taking it back to the OG line, at least for DCAU figures, that being the Kenner Batman the Animated Series lines. And more importantly, rather than pick our favorites, although I think some of these would also qualify as favorites in maybe an ironic sense, we're just taking a look at some of the weirdest Batman the Animated Series action figures that were produced across its many names and many series. This Kenner line had some real doozies in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty well established that when it comes to Batman figures, when it comes to superhero action figures, you have to sell an entire line of toys. And how are you going to differentiate your toys? There, you have your main character. It's Batman, right? And a lot of times Batman, while being an interesting character in his own right, his standard uniform doesn't just seem enough to toy executives to sell toys. They think that there needs to be bright colors and unique features and different names. You got to appeal to the kiddos. When this is sitting on a shelf, it's got to have something unique about it. And the kids got to look up and go, wow, I want that one because of how it looks. And boy, back in the 90s, that was certainly the case. The toy executives sort of went a little nuts and thought at their thoughts outside the box. I think is an easy way to describe it. They went way outside, way back there to pick some of these names, some of these features. We're going to highlight our 5 of the weirdest Batman the Animated Series figures. As you said, we're just sticking with Batman the Animated Series and the Adventures of Batman and Robin. We're not going into the new Batman Adventures because there's plenty of oddballs in that in those lines as well. Not to mention some of the standard Batman lines. You could do probably 10 episodes on all the movie tie-ins and the various different unique figures that never made screen appearances but were made available in plastic form. So Liam, I'll throw it over to you to kick things off here with your list here. We're not going in any particular order. We'll save maybe our favorite or our goofiest for last, but I'll throw it over to you for your first mention here on your list.
That's right. And we're going to kick things off hot with the Batman the Animated Series Deluxe series, which these are like, you get some oversized accessories in this one. And my pick from that set is Ground Assault Batman, which is, I picked it mostly, I think, for the color scheme. which is for some reason purple and green. You know, like that's something Batman would wear. But on top of that, you have your accessories. You have the cloth cape, as all of the Kenner Batman figures did. But then his accessory, the ground assault in question being perpetrated by the Dark Knight, is this like dark purple sled or skateboard.
Excuse me, it's a motorized turbo powered ground jet.
The ground jet. And not only that, it has like a fireable, like bat-shaped missile in the front. And then that's not enough, because Batman might need to joust while he's on his motorized turbo powered ground jet. And so he also has like a battle axe, something Batman would carry.
You know what? The irony of this show, these figures being based off a show where Batman was a gritty hero, set in a 1930s style Art Deco area, and all of the figures outside of maybe Combat Belt Batman, which was just your standard gray Batman with a giant extra utility belt accessory. All of the figures, the rest of the figures came with some sort of wacky piece of future technology that had like no place in a gritty Batman the Animated Series world.
And the Technicolor outfits, that was also a great point. Like, if you didn't get those like early series where he's actually in like the show accurate colors, he or Robin, you were getting a weird like yellow and black or green and purple, in this case Batman, to play with. So you had to kind of use your imagination there. But yeah, I thought this was a fun one to ease us into the concept here. It's just, I think the color scheme, the wacky accessory, and then yes, the fact of imagining this. There's a great, it's the series finale of the Brave and the Bold cartoon, which we have not covered on our show, but there's a bit in that episode where Batmite is trying to get the show canceled, and so he increases toy company meddling. and he introduces the neon talking Super Street Bat Luge. And that's kind of what I thought of when I saw this. It's almost literally, he's not laying down on it, but it is the I'm just imagining this being in a more overbearing toy company had gotten the license. We might have had to have seen an episode where Batman was racing down the street in a motorized turbo powered ground jet.
You know what I love about this almost, and it actually is my first figure that I'm going to talk about. It suffers from the same thing, but I love that the action figure that comes with this thing is almost the afterthought in the packaging. Like 3/4 of the packaging window is filled up with this turbo glider thing, or this turbo street glider thing, ground
jet, turbo powered ground jet. Don't embarrass yourself.
Like 3/4, like you can barely tell that there's an action figure in here, all the way in the corner, like jammed in there. There's also like a giant paper insert that like has to tell you what this accessory is that takes up the bottom quarter of the window, but barely visible and nearly lost in all of this confusion of accessories is this Batman figure in there. So I love that if you didn't know what you were looking at here, you might not even realize that this is an action figure. It kind of just looks like plastic garbage jammed into a little display window there. Boy, that's a great one to kick off your set there. I love that. As I mentioned, my first mention here on our top 5 craziest Batman the Animated Series figures list here is mine is good. Suffers that same issue where nearly, I would say, half of the packaging is taken up by the accessory that it comes with, and that is Paraglide Batman. Now, at first glance, this Batman doesn't look too weird. He's wearing kind of an all red suit, and he's kind of got straps attached to it. It was a standard mold. They used this mold. It may in fact pop up later on in my list, but this mold was used several times. It's sort of just a standard Batman mold. He's got these straps attached to him. It could be for a parachute. It could be for a flight suit. It's sort of nondescript straps attached. So he comes with this glider, this gigantic blue glider. Now, the glider doesn't match whatever he's wearing. By the way, it also comes with It not only is it Paraglide Batman, it's Paraglide Batman with Dive Bomb Skywing. That's what we're included here. So it's not a glider. It's not a paraglider, which I thought it would. But also, whenever you think about Batman, you think about him paragliding, right? Like when I like my Batman paragliding. I picked this one because as a child, even I recognized that they had simply reused the Robin glider from the original Robin release in Batman the Animated Series, probably a year and a half or two prior to this figure being released, and just colored it differently, put a Batman logo on it, and said, "Oh, Batman has a paraglider." I was like, wait a second. This is the same thing as the Robin glider from the first Robin figure I ever owned. Like, what the heck? So yeah, this gets an honorable, or a my first mention for, first of all, Batman using a paraglider. While it is the lowest of the technology probably on our list here, and maybe fits into that Deco world, not a lot of gliders. Batman also somehow in this aerodynamic and seemingly wind dependent vehicle that he is riding in has these bombs attached to it. Like, there's no motor with this, so we have to assume that he uses the wind, but it's light. The bombs are light enough to be carried by the wind. Also, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Also, Batman bombing things from the sky in a paraglider just seems unnecessary when he's got a freaking giant Batwing bat plane that you could also obtain. So several reasons why I chose this one for my list.
That's a really good one, though. When the repackaging is so blatant, and even we as little kids could see that on the shelf and go, "Oh, that's just the Robin glider. They just painted it different." Is pretty extreme. And yeah, that's a good first entry on your list there. And from there, I will move on to my second entry on our list here. And our first non-Batman figure, I went with a Wind Blitz Batgirl from the Adventures. Let me get the full name of this: The Adventures of Batman and Robin Duo Force Series 2. And Cal, I think you can let the listeners know it's not just Duo Force because Batman and Robin are the dynamic duo. Oh no, you idiots. There's an acronym at play here. There's little periods between each letter there, letting us know that duo stands for something.
That's right. So toy executives decided that the toy executives are the people in charge at Kenner, which was, I think, probably purchased by Hasbro by that point, and just still licensing the Kenner name. Decided that, well, what do kids like? Like, kids like things. We got to figure out how to get everybody, every figure purchased off the shelf. Kids like things that connect together. Kids love Lego. Kids love Connects. Kids love Transformers. Let's have them be able to build these unique vehicles using different parts from each figure, and we're going to call it the Duo Force because they're the dynamic duo, right? Yeah, absolutely. But this is the mid 90s. Everything was extreme. Everything had to have an acronym behind it, so we couldn't just be the Duo Force or the dynamic Duo Force. No, duo had to be an acronym, and Duo Force, by the way, today years old, as doing research for this episode, when I learned that the Batman Duo Force stood for Dual Usage Operation, which is just the most clumsy, lazy acronym. You used the word duo, a form of the word duo with dual in the acronym, so that's lazy enough as it is.
It's an ATM machine,
right? Precisely. But dual usage operation, what?
well, you see, Cal, the reason that is because each figure in the set, with the exception of our villain for the set, that being a Riddler re-release, each Batman, Robin, and Batgirl each got a vehicle that they came with that was in fact dual function or dual usage. In Batgirl's case, she has like this weird little glider parachute thing it's like gray and has like a blue parachute attached to it, which she can kind of hang from like she's on a trapeze. Or it could be converted into the front of a little sailboat. And the back of the packaging has the what it looks like if you collect all the heroes figures to make this just utter monstrosity of a of a joint vehicle of the Batman figure, the Robin figure, and the Batgirl, the Windblitz Batgirl figure. It just looks preposterous, looks really silly. And the icing on the cake of all of this is the only Batgirl figure in the Batman the Animated Series lines. We got some repaints later on in the new Batman Adventures lines, but we don't actually get unlike with Batman and Robin, we don't even get one show accurate Batgirl. They had to gussy it up with this weird black and white suit that she's wearing. So just a cornucopia of reasons that I think this made our list here.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a comedy of errors, and one of those things that you look back on and just say, man, I think that the toy executives should have taken a little bit longer to figure out, just like, does this accurately communicate what the on-screen product is? Do these go together? Does this make any sense? Are we just making up our own stuff at this point?
I'm just imagining watching like Appointment in Crime Alley or even Shadow of the Batgirl's first appearance, which is about like political corruption and, you know, politicians working with organized crime and things like that. And then you go to the store and you're like, oh, a Batgirl figure, just like I saw on the show. And she's got like a parasail that she's riding around on, and she has a weird giant disc launcher attachment to it. It's just what a strange way to market your show or market or set up your you just set up a lot of confusion. I feel like a little bit of market confusion when the show was what it was and then the figures were this sort of thing.
Yeah, certainly an odd choice. And that's why we are going to stay with the Duo Force here for our next entry on my list. By the way, before I reveal this, I feel like I need to read the copy on the back of the Duo Force packaging.
Oh, please do.
For our heroes. So this is the approved verbiage on the back of the packaging, describing just what the Duo Force is, you know, as if you've been living under a rock and clearly had never heard of the famous Batman and Robin Duo Force. Whatever it takes to get the mission accomplished, the Batman and Robin Duo Force has it. Equipped with dual usage operation vehicles specifically designed to convert from one crime fighting mode to another in a matter of seconds, Batman and Robin join up to form a high-tech team with double the powerful capability to conquer Gotham City's most diabolical and cunning villains.
I just want to interject here and just say it took more than seconds to configure these. Configure these contraptions that they made, these dual force.
You had to refer to the diagram to figure out what areas went where, what plugged in where, what was this supposed to do. By the way, also, if I'm not mistaken, at some point there was something that they advertised or marketed with 3 of the vehicles together, meaning that the Duo Force was actually a trio force or a triple force. So
that's right. If you look on the back of the packaging of the aforementioned Windblitz Batgirl, it's a 3-pronged attack with Cycle Thruster Batman and Hydrostorm Robin as they create this. They're all different colors. Like, it doesn't match at all. Like Batman's is blue and gray, Batgirl's is blue and gray, and then Robin's is green. Like, it just, none of this makes sense.
I'm still stuck on the fact that your dual what is it? The dual usage operation has 3 parts to it. 3 humans are operating. Dual usage. Like, all right, cool. All right, whatever. All right, so our next entry, to the aforementioned Duo Force, is in fact going to be Hydrostorm Robin, which was from the Adventures of Batman and Robin Duo Force. So if you throw it in your Google machine, Hydro Force Robin, you will see some very interesting things here. meaning, of course, we have the dual usage of the vehicle, and the little diagram on the back of the figure tells you exactly what to do. It tells you here to put the vest on the figure as either a breathing vest or a backpack, and then to place the weapon on the vehicle or in the figure's hand. And then we have in deep dive mode, Robin patrols the ocean depths to combat villains operating out of a hidden seafloor crime complex. And then converting into sea skiff mode, he surfaces to capture foes foolish enough to attempt an escape, then seals their fate with his harpoon strike weapon.
We'll by the way, we'll be posting pictures of all of these. I'll make a thread on Twitter, and we'll post them on our Instagram as well. But the pictures, the examples of how Robin can ride on this thing. There's one where he's just kind of standing on it with his big gun, which is funny enough.
Which, by the way, from memory, we had this one, or one of us, or one of our siblings did. I guess they spent so much of the budget on the Duo Force vehicles that the harpoon itself was just like a one-piece of plastic that didn't fire. So the weapon that was attached to Robin's vehicle, that was supposed to be the thing that stopped the villain, was not functioning. Didn't have a functional weapon on it. So there was no catching people with his sea harpoon or whatever they call it. Like, it was a solid piece of plastic that was pretty much would be rendered useless in any sort of battle against villainy.
That's right. And yeah, I really like the deep dive version where he's just sort of planking on the thing. Incredible stuff. Unfortunately,
it's a 5 point of articulation figure, and they used the non recycled Batman Returns body, which was fine. This was a unique mold that they used later on in one of the later releases for Robin. But the issue is that Robin isn't wearing a traditional Batman the Animated Series outfit, so it looks strange as it is. He's wearing complete sleeves. It's a wetsuit. I guess it's supposed to be a wetsuit, but for some reason his chest is exposed, so he's got like the red Robin identifier from his suit, but then everything else is like yellow, just this neon yellow. It kind of looks like Earth 2 Robin or whatever, whichever Robin that was that they from the Crisis comics, where you see him sort of him taking over as the main hero and Batman having died. It's like this bright neon, all yellow colored, and it's just another one of those things you're like, boy, that's interesting that even his boots are bright neon yellow. Like maybe even with black boots, it wouldn't have looked that odd. But then he's got these weird green streaks also, where it looks like maybe his costume is showing through. I don't know. It was an odd choice of character. The 90s were a weird time, everyone. So for all of you Zoomers out there that are dying for us to return to the age of the 90s, be careful what you wish for, because you might end up with an action figure that looks like this.
That's right. Or it could be the next one on our list here, which is it's another Robin. Robin's going to take a few punches on this list, and my first Robin on my side of the bracket here is the Batman the Animated Series 4. Bola Trap Robin, which is definitely another one we had.
I think I feel like it was definitely in your collection, and it was definitely a birthday gift with whirling battle blades.
That's right. Well, it's funny because I think of a bola as like the little rope thing with like the balls attached to it that Batman and Robin would throw, to tie up a villain, but that's not what this is. As we have Robin, first and foremost, it might be the same mold as the Hydro Force Robin we just talked about. It
definitely is 100%.
Where he has these like checkered. I guess was he on his way to a ska concert, because he has like checkers. He has like checkered pants.
Yeah,
but he's in his. That's right. He's got knee pads on. He has this black and yellow suit, which whatever. Like we've already talked about, almost every re-release or figure outside of the original appearances had a wacky alternate color scheme. But the aforementioned whirling battle blades, it's this strange. It's just this giant silver contraption that has like a big round edge on it, and you have these three, again, like simulating the bola, but instead of it being a small thing, it's like a rope you tie up with. It's got like three bat-shaped axes, and they're just giant. And you put it together on this contraption. Robin holds it in his hand, and there was like a little knob on the back of the contraption that you twisted, and that would make it spin. So Robin just coming at you with like a saw death trap, like he's just trying to take the penguin's head off if you're playing with this figure. Like, it's just I think the accessory is really what makes this one memorable and a worthy entry on this list.
Yeah, I like that they're shaped like the Batarangs. Like, that's kind of cool that they went that far to sort of, they look like the Batman the Animated Series Batarangs, like the curved entry there with the little scalloped edge there. But yeah, the functionality of the weapon and how Robin wouldn't accidentally chop his own head off in the in the process of attempting to use such a device, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was interesting. That one definitely holds a near and dear place in my heart as well, from just the memories of seeing you play with it, being in our collection or your collection, and by way of your collection, my collection. So yeah, that's another fun one that you just kind of scratch your head. And they went with no red, like they have black and yellow. So it's like Pittsburgh Steelers or Pittsburgh Penguins or Pittsburgh Pirates Robin. Or maybe Batman, it's an homage to Batman's color scheme of black and yellow. I don't know, but yeah, an odd choice. Not one that necessarily jumps off the shelves there as being very toyetic as the insider word goes. But Liam, my next entry on the list has the distinction of being actually one of my favorite Batman the Animated Series Kenner figures. I think Combat Belt Batman is number one in my heart for just the iconic nature of the figure, but this figure is probably a very close second, and that would be the Series 2 Batman the Animated Series Skydive Batman. And while the nostalgic feelings I have for this figure are tremendous, I was granted the opportunity to purchase a mint on card copy of this figure, and so it's in my collection. I love the card art and everything about it. I love the fact that Batman comes with a parachute, but there's so many things that when you think about it here that don't make a whole lot of sense. So Skydive Batman chose to wear a neon construction cone orange suit,
which is especially great because the packaging tells us that the parachute is for surprise attacks. and what better way to keep incognito until you're ready to strike than by wearing a bright orange neon jumpsuit
and having a giant metallic mylar parachute. That also adds to the ability. It's both stealthy, it's quiet when you drop it, it doesn't at all make any loud noises, and it's not at all reflective of light, therefore creating a giant bat signal in the sky. So yeah, obviously being very sarcastic there, but Skydive Batman, while being an iconic, very fun figure to play with as a child, I remember standing at the top of our steps in our childhood home and dropping it down, watching Batman sort of parachute his best to the ground, leading to a lot of paint getting chipped off of it. But it's a great figure. It looks cool. It looks fun. It was fun to play with. But when you really think about it, especially based on that description of surprise attacks with working parachute for surprise attacks, yeah, it sort of doesn't make any sense at all why he's wearing a neon orange suit, especially when they used the same mold. So as I mentioned so many times, we get a released version with different gliders and backpacks and jetpacks and all of these. We eventually get one that has like a dark suit with like silver straps on it. Like you could have done that with Skydive Batman, but no, it had to jump off of the shelves for kids to buy, and I guess it worked because I enjoyed it. It sticks out in my head for good reason. And when you see that orange traffic cone colored Batman, I know that's Skydive Batman. I never have to guess which one it is. But yeah, that one is a nostalgic love and near and dear to my heart for so many reasons.
Yeah, I love just like the whole contraption. He has like, to set this up, he has like this computer mouse on his back. like it's this huge like half circle cylindrical device that connects via like a chest piece that clasps together, and then you attach the strings from the parachute to that, and then that sort of is how you do it. So it's just, again, we talk about some assembly required. Take probably hours to exactly figure out how to do that if you happen to lose the diagram. But yes, it is a I understand. Like I this is also definitely one when we first started talking about doing this show, one of the first ones that came to my mind was like, oh yeah, there's the orange Batman with the parachute. Like this was definitely on there. So I get why this would be a memorable one for you, and one that would be fun for a kid to play with.
Absolutely.
That's right, Cal. And as we move down the list, as I've been compiling my list, I've had a question in my head. And that question is, when crime gets this big, what do you do?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Liam, because when crime gets this big, you need the squad.
When crime gets this big, you need the squad. The Batman Crime Squad. Batman and Robin with rapid deploy techno capes. Plan Strike Batman puts the hook on the evil Bane, but Bane is strong as steel. Racing in comes Ski Blast Robin to stagger the beast. Now the squad takes to the air in the triple attack jet. Robin launches the attack drone, revealing Air Assault Batman, who causes Bane serious pain. When crime gets this big, you need the squad. The Batman Crime Squad with rapid deploy techno capes. Figures and triple attack jet each sold separately. These and other incredible Batman toys are available at a store near you.
That's right. And I think we'll have a few entries from the Batman Crime Squad set to talk about across our two lists here. But my first entry into the annals of the Crime Squad, we've talked about that in previous episodes where we talked about our favorite DCAU figures. The Batman Crime Squad commercial and marketing push, very effective on young Cal and Liam. Collected everything except that darn triple attack jet,
which you bought for me later on. You were kind enough to.
That's
give
right.
It as an adult, it is in my collection as a adult collector. So we ended up picking it up there. So.
That's right, but
everything from the commercial, at least.
That's right, but of course the commercial featured a couple different Batman, a Robin, which we've talked about previously, a re-release of a Bane figure. But my first entry from the Crime Squad series is, of course, Crime Squad Series 1, Land Strike Batman. And it should be worth mentioning that all Batman and Robin figures in the Crime Squad line came with what are referred to as rapid deploy techno capes.
That is right.
One of those.
And another thing, I was today's years old as I was doing the research. It never dawned on me. Every single accessory or every single cape has the preface of techno. So every single figure in this Crime Squad line has a techno something attachment to them, and Land Strike Batman is no exception, as he has a transforming techno claw backpack.
That's right. So you have this just giant. So the Batman figure itself. He's in like yellow and black camouflage, so he kind of matches Bullet Trap Robin. Yeah, if they're going undercover in Pittsburgh, I guess they would wear those suits. But as you mentioned earlier, but yes, so it's this weird backpack. If you have it sort of in resting position where it's turned down towards Batman's feet, it just looks like, I don't know, the wind's blowing his cape up or something. Like it just looks very odd. But then you snap it into place, and it is this giant claw, and it has like a pincer motion, which has like two little levers on the back that you squeeze together, and you could use it to grab, and in the case of the commercial, as the listeners just heard, to put the hook on the evil Bane. It's a ridiculous.
Watch out, Bane's strong as steel, though.
That's true. That's true. But it's such a weird figure, and it was such a weird idea for a set, as you mentioned, very 90s, very trying to make this toy line into something it's not, probably to maybe chase some trends from Transformers or GI Joe or something like that at the time, whatever the hot toy was at the time that they were trying to maybe compete with. And here you go. This is a yellow and black Batman with a big green claw thing on his back that he can use to grab criminals with. What else would you need?
Liam, would you like to hear the official copy from the back of the figure also, as to just the description of what the Batman Crime Squad is? I mean, we have the perfect description for what the squad is via the commercial, but there is an official little breakdown here on the back of the figure. Would you like to hear that?
I would love to hear that more than anything in the world.
All right. This is titled The Crime Squad File. Gotham City's most dangerous villains have escaped from Arkham Asylum. In order to save humanity, Batman and Robin have armed themselves with special rapid deployment Technocape backpack equipment and highly camouflaged suits to track down every last criminal, no matter where they are hiding. Join the Batman Crime Squad on their life or death mission to save humanity from its most dangerous enemies. So at least we get a description as to why they're wearing weird camouflage, ? We get some sort of weird explanation. Also, the triple attack jet also had weird black and white camouflage on it. Mm-hmm. It's not traditional like military camouflage though, so it's sort of bizarre. It just ends up looking like weird stripes or a weird pattern. I did find it interesting that this Batman mold also has like weird extra side pockets attached to the utility belt.
It's got like padding on the thighs and his hips.
Yeah, not sure what that was. They just like went off. I wonder which came first. I assume the artwork came first, because usually you draw an action figure what it's gonna look like. But just somebody was like, yeah, it would kind of look cool if he had these extra side pouches and knee or thigh protectors on there. Let's add those. That's toyetic. But yeah, this one I think from its prominence in the commercial is well worth mentioning, and was definitely one that you had in your collection. And in my mind, I can still remember playing with that claw attachment for just hours on end. Like it was like a fidget spinner. Like you just click it, just like over and over and over again. So yeah, definitely a fun entry there. That's a good one. I like that one. And sticking with the squad, the Batman Crime Squad, that is, we will go with my next entry here. And we have, that is going to be Piranha Blade Batman with transforming Techno Shield backpack.
Woo!
That's right. Piranha Blade Batman. So basically, it's an action figure. Imagine if Batman had a backpack that could turn into the jaws of life. Like that's pretty much what this figure is. It's interesting because the cape in its sort of rested position, non-crime squad transforming position, looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like a 90s almost Kelly Jones or maybe a Tim Saleh type drawing with these real big shoulder points to it, just really exaggerated shoulder points. But then when you turn it around, he's got these piranha blades. And the reason why I chose that question is, what's a piranha blade, Liam?
That's a great question. I mean, piranha would imply like biting some kind,
right.
Teeth of some kind, which I don't know how you could classify any of these as teeth. And the action it's showing on the packaging is Batman sort of with the piranha blades down, and he's firing like this little disc launcher attachment that he also comes with. So they're not even really like seemingly very into the idea of what the piranha blades are doing. Even by the drawing, they weren't quite sure how this was going to work, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I think another thing I want to point out here with this is that So many of these figures feel like they just pulled out of a hat, just random words to mash together. It's like, all right, we're gonna pick an animal, and then we're gonna pick a weapon. All right, and all right, Bob, you pick out the animal. Go ahead. And piranha. All right, great. All right, and all right, Sharon, you pick out the weapon. Blades. All right, so this is going to be piranha blade Batman. Wonderful, man. All right, get to work on that, Steve, on what that one's going to look like. It just feels like a mad-lib or somebody just pulled random words out of a hat to make whatever the figures are going to be. Piranha blade Batman. Yeah, part of the legendary Batman crime squad. At least he's not wearing a Dayglow bright costume. He's got a sort of a darker fuchsia red and black camouflage motif.
That's right. Yeah, there's something to that look. Like you said, when the wings are down, I'm like, yeah, this looks kind of cool. Like, it's not, I don't know how like functional it would be to play with for a kid, but as a as a display or something you could. But yeah, the longer you look at it and the more you look at those accessories, it just gets more bizarre as it goes, I think.
Also, the descriptor there, you have transforming techno shield backpack. Is it a shield? Is it a backpack? Is it a weapon? What is it? We don't know. It's all of these things. And that they had a lot of fun with mashing those words together with these things. Techno shield backpack. Of course, it's a techno shield backpack. What else would it be? It's one of those.
It's one of those. As I say, there's again one of those no wrong answers. Let's just throw some futuristic words that sound cool and that we can trademark,
right?
And throw it at the wall and see what sticks here. But yeah, that'll actually bring us to my final entry on the platform. And this is wow. This is a legendary. This might be the first Batman the Animated Series I have like a legitimate memory of playing with.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I remember being in a crib and making black marks all up and down the wall of my crib with this figure, that being of course from Batman the Animated Series 2 Ninja Robin, which is there's so many reasons that I love this figure and love to make fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
As well. One, just the concept, which is just okay. Robin's a ninja for some reason, so he has like a ninja mask to wear over his domino mask.
Correct.
He has like he has an axe. They keep giving Robin axes, but it's like a bat-shaped axe. And then he also has like what I think is maybe, well, I should just say they are referred to simply as ninja weapons. So we don't like. I think it's supposed to be like a nunchuck, but it's I don't know. It's like two axes, but there's a string kind of attaching them, and then he has this bat-shaped axe that he's holding, and his ninja mask, of course, and his cape. But and that's again the concept. Okay, Robin's a ninja. Why? He just is. But I think what really makes this figure for me is that it looks like we've caught Robin after like he's gone through a really bad breakup or something, because he looks like he's put on some weight, and also his hair is like all flat and pushed down. And it looks like he has like the classic Robin suit on seemingly, except that he has like his chest is way thicker than normal. He has this like black, I guess, ninja apparatus, and he has black gloves and sort of black thigh pads, and everything. But it looks enough like Robin that you might be forgiven. But he's a little too thick for
I think
this animated
bulking.
Series.
Robin, in bulking season right now. That's all.
He's cultivating mass,
right?
If you want to go with the Always Sunny reference. But yeah, it's like I feel like we caught Robin when he was going through some stuff, which maybe some people when they go through a crisis, they get really into a certain hobby, or they do something. Robin got really into ninja stuff, and put on a little bit of weight. Nothing wrong with that. It's just what I'm looking at when I look at Ninja Robin. Is not only is it a wacky accessories like we've been talking about a lot, kind of a wacky costume, but he's just the hair. Well, the functional reason for why the hair is weird is because he has this rubber ninja mask that you're supposed to be able to fit over his head, rather than just making that one piece. It's a rubber piece that you can take on and put on and take off. So that wouldn't have worked with the normal Robin head mold, which has the spiky hair. Like, it wouldn't have fit. So they had to make his hair flat. But as a result, we get this, like, Robin hasn't taken a shower in a few days and hasn't fixed his hair, and he's put on a little bit of, he's put on some poundage here. So that's my again, we're not really naming these 5-1, but if I had to pick a number one, it's Ninja Robin with his flat hair and his thick midsection.
That's right. You failed to mention his chopping arm action also.
Of course.
Which, happened when you squeezed his legs together, which unfortunately led to his right arm also being extremely deformed and longer than like it goes like down below his knee. It's very strange. Like his arms, he's just very disproportionate, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen like an athlete who's torn their bicep but is like going to play in a game before they get the surgery to repair it or whatever, just wait until after the season to play it, and you'll notice like one arm starts to the arm starts to shrivel up because it's not functioning properly. And yeah, that's what it looks like for Ninja Robin here. It looks like he's had some sort of pectoral or bicep injury that is causing him quite a bit of discomfort.
There you go. It's just kind of hanging down there. Also, extra bonus points for the fact that they have this gigantic package window, and they had to like really explore the space. If you want to use the Christopher Walken line here, is they have a that. It's like the image of in the packaging, it's like the ninja mask, and then like 2 inches below it is like the axe, and then 2 inches below that is the whatever that is, the nunchucks, and then it's the figure. And it just, because of the way they spread everything out and the size of the packaging window, it looks like they were like, oh well, here you get this extra stuff, and they're trying to make it seem like it comes with a whole bunch of extra stuff, and it's not. It's just looks like, it looks kind of sad. It's like, oh, I guess I get the Robin figure, and he comes with all of these cool tiny accessories. Meanwhile, Skydive Batman came with an entire backpack the size of the action figure itself. So yeah, extra points for that. That's
love it.
That's great. All right, before we get to my final reveal here, Liam, we will talk about I know that you have some honorable mentions for your list here that didn't quite make the cut, but are certainly worth notating.
Yeah, most of mine are vehicles. I decided not to include any in my main list, but there are some, as one would expect, there's some very wacky vehicles, including but not limited to the Robin buggy.
The often that was the rarest piece of Batman the Animated Series merchandise for a very long time, because as the story goes, the mold itself was destroyed in a fire at Kenner, so it was released only like in limited quantities, and when those like limited quantities made it out to the stores, they were bought up and gone, and word got around that they were a rare item. But yeah, it is one of those things. It's like, why does Robin have a buggy?
I should clarify, the title of this figure is the Robin Dragster. Right. It converts into a high riding 4x4, and also had a launching like missile batarang piece. So again, that's more just kind of a fun one to throw in, because it's ridiculous, and also for, as you mentioned, the trivia note of of this really silly thing becoming like one of the most sought after pieces in the whole set because of the scarcity of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, mine I think would probably go the rest of the Duo Force figures, just because including there was a Duo Force Mr. Freeze figure that was released where they gave Mr. Freeze wacky colors too. Like most of the villains escaped the temptation because they were made in limited quantities, and not all of the villains were made right away, where they got these repaint re-releases. Some of them did, but not not a ton of them. And even the Riddler in that Duo Force series that was a re-release maintained his classic sort of coloration from the show. But for some reason, the Mr. Freeze in that set, they gave this weird, like dark blue pants and dark blue, like navy blue pants and navy blue. It just looks very awkward. It's not a good look for Mr. Freeze. But in the rest of that set, we have Turbo Surge Batman, which he's got like some kind of weird like street luge that he comes with or something. Would not be the last time that Batman was accompanied by a luge accessory either. He fell victim to that later in the new Batman Adventures line as well.
That's right.
We also had Vector Wing Batman, which again just feels like you took two random words and stuck them together. We had something that I feel like I don't know how it got through like legal that this would be the name of a child's toy, but Cycle Thruster Batman was released also. That one also has a weird vehicle that Batman has to like sled sit down in. Kind of looks like a bobsled, actually.
A little bit.
Like Batman in a bobsled. Like if you ever wanted Batman to bobsled and participate in the Olympics, here you go. But Cycle Thruster Batman in that. And then we also had Airstrike Robin. And while that figure may not have too difficult a unique name, Airstrike Robin, one of the functionalities of his vehicle is to ride on the ground. So I know it's Duo Force, but you would think that both functions of the vehicle for Airstrike Robin would be some sort of flight capability, but no, one is like a ground, Segway. It looks like a preamble to a Segway that also turns into an air glider. So those get honorable mention from me before we reveal my top pick here as we go. Here, Liam, it's been a fun look at things, but we're going to wrap things up here with another member of the squad, and that is a one that I honestly don't know if I knew existed. And just looking and reviewing some of the Crime Squad figures, it's amazing that this figure exists. It is called Tri-Wing Batman, and it fell under the Deluxe Crime Squad edition with Techno Glide Backpack, which Techno Glide Backpack, I again, one of those things that feels like words mashed together that don't mean anything. The figure itself, while having a partially seems to be based on sort of the standard Batman look. He's got like a dark gray or gunmetal like suit, but then he's got these sky blue highlights. The reason I picked this one though is, again, the monstrosity of the accessory that comes with this Batman. First of all, the artist who did the artwork, which we could do a whole episode on just the artwork of these original Batman, the animated series, and the Adventures of Batman and Robin run. They're tremendous. They had a lot of fun doing the artwork. Tremendous looking things. But the artwork, Batman, again, is barely visible. The thing that takes up most of the packaging is this, what appears to be a blue picket fence that Batman has strapped to his back. Why does Batman have a blue picket fence strapped to his back? I don't know that we'll ever have that question answered. What does Tri-Wing Batman's Techno Glide Backpack do? I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you what this figure functions, how it functions, what the purpose, what this thing could possibly do. Does it connect to the figure? Does it encase some sort of figure? I think we need to look at the diagram for how this figure works, because it's sort of like folds back and around him, but then it extends, like I said, almost appearing to be a picket fence just resting behind Batman. I don't get it. I don't get what the purpose of the Tri-Wing cape is. According to the description, it says raise figure's arms, attach wing backpack to figure using the two side straps as sewn. Load projectile into launcher, position launcher for the firing. Launcher stores as shown. Oh, so there's a missile that functions as either the thruster for the I guess it flies. I guess whatever this thing is flies for Batman, but it also functions as a weapon also, so you can fire the thruster at the villain, or you can use it as the launching mechanism for Batman to be able to fly. But it just looks like the least aerodynamic, least understandable. Like, as a kid, I wouldn't know what this is. Like, how does this function? How do I play with this?
I was going to say, I am looking on, and this was helpful in our research. If you go to figure-archive.net, maybe do it in an incognito window, because I feel like a .net website isn't the safest one to go to. But if you go to that website, they have not only pictures of all of these figures in package, but they also have like the unfolded wings of this thing. And he's got like a weird little rocket launcher and an orange like face shield.
Yeah, that I don't get either. What is that for? That's for the flight? Is that protecting his face?
I guess so. But unlike the art on the figure, it doesn't really, the green of the glider doesn't really match the green of Batman's suit either. So it's just like you got like a really dark green glider and then like a very like pale, almost blue green on Batman's figure here. Very, very bizarre. And then it doesn't, I mean, you would say if it's called a techno glide, it's supposed to be a glider, but it doesn't. It's not a glider.
Not a glider. Also, this figure has a weird, like, Batman is grimacing in this figure. Like, I don't ever remember any of the Batman figures having this weird, like, downturned grimace facial feature here.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if they took this from like one of the other Kenner Batman heads, but like from not from the movies, but like from one of those other lines. But I can't say that for sure. That's just a guess, because all the other ones just have kind of the stone-faced no expression face.
Very strange. Very strange. All right, Liam, that will wrap us up here. What a fun look back. As we said, check out our Twitter page. Maybe at some point in the distant future, when we have time, we'll try and do a video companion for one of these one year where we're talking about these figures. But for now, check us out at DCAU Review on Twitter. We'll also throw them up on our Instagram, because we know a lot of people have decided to leave Twitter behind for now. So you can check us out on Instagram at DCAU Review too. We'll post some of those this week as well, so you can kind of get what we're talking about here. You can also throw them in your Google machine, as if you're a functioning adult, you might opt to do instead. But lots of fun here, Liam, as we've had. We'd love to hear if you have nostalgic feelings for this line, if you have some weirder, wackier ones that you have in your opinion, feel free to tweet us at DCAU Review if you're still using Twitter, or if you're not, send them to us via DM on Instagram, or if you'd like to, you can just sort of respond. If you're listening on Spotify, you can comment the names of the ones. We'll do some research. If you want to, you can comment. We post those on Spotify, and there's usually a question that we allow, a poll that we ask, and then a question for feedback. So if you have some that you remember that you want to throw our way and have us do some research on, please do, because boy, we had a lot of fun doing this one, Liam.
Absolutely. These Black Friday episodes are always a lot of fun, always a fun trip down memory lane, because again, that's the whole nature of our show, is nostalgia. But it's kind of fun to take a look at the other side of this, the merchandising side of this, because it was such a massive thing. As much as I think this this DCAU, this Batman the Animated Series, sometimes feels like this very close-knit, like, secret somehow amongst the millions of fans who love it. It is something to remember. This was a big mass retail product, and we got a lot of wacky stuff out of the merchandising side of it. So it's always fun to look at that stuff.
Absolutely. So we wish you and yours a very happy holiday season. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Support us, as we said, via our social media. You can also head over to the Pod Tower on YouTube, youtube.com/the Pod Tower. If you're listening to us there, you can certainly leave some feedback in the comments there. Like the video, check it out. Tell people about the episode. Share it maybe with somebody that doesn't usually listen to the podcast. Maybe a loved one, a sibling that you grew up with, a friend that had some of these wacky Batman figures in their collection. But you can also go ahead and if you want to support us, you can head over, do so by supporting us via social media or subscribing to us on your favorite podcast app. You can head over to anchor.fm. And there's actually a link there if you want to donate to the pod, buy myself or Liam a cup of coffee if you want to. We appreciate that. You can also support us by purchasing some merchandise. I'm sure there's some Black Friday deals. If you're listening to this on the weekend that it originally dropped, you can head over to DCAUreview.com and click on our store tab. Check out our merchandise and get a nice discount there this weekend for Black Friday. Of course, we will be returning tomorrow. If you're listening to this for our original release, we will be dropping our standard episode tomorrow on the feed, and we have a great, exciting month of things to come here with some great reviews. Looking forward to doing that, and Liam, we certainly wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season.
Absolutely. We always have fun revisiting this and spending time with our family, in this case each other, reminiscing about things like this, and we hope everybody else has the opportunity to do so as well. So thanks everybody for listening. It's been a hoot going down memory lane here. Absolutely. And until the next episode, I'm Cal. And I'm Liam. And we'll catch you on the next edition of the DCAU Review. Bye-bye.